Good Friday evening in Florida State, and welcome to a very special edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Tyler Harden.
And I'm student meteorologist Jordan Frazier. We had that fall tease earlier in the week, but that fall tease has come back to the normal summertime-ish weather that we're used to seeing this time of year, kind of getting a little bit warmer, especially during the day, but the mornings have been significantly cooler.
Yes, and you can think the high-pressure system that's overhead bringing some dry air into the region. That's why if you've been outside, there really weren't any clouds, so sunscreen's going to be a must if you're going to the game tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. And also of course, any kind of sunglasses or a hat, too, for protection as well.
Exactly. Tomorrow is going to be one of the warmest home games for mid-October that we've seen. But that's not going to last long. You'll see that when we show you the Sunday.
Yes, there is a cold front starting to sneak in, but also for going to the game, you want to be sure that it's going to be a little bit warmer than inside the stadium than outside because of all the mixture of concrete as well of all the people inside the stadium.
It's actually like an artificial urban heat island
because
of all the people. But now we're going to send over to an overview of the show with Charlie.
Thank you, Tyler. That's right. I'm student meteorologist Charlie Bowen. Looking at today's high temps, we see Tallahassee a little warmer than we had the last couple days, 85, a little further north to Quincy, 84. Bainbridge, the hot spot on the map, at 88 degrees. Looking at the satellite and radar, you can see that clear weather that we've had. You see those clouds moving in from the over from the far west, over from the Gulf Coast, moving their way over, but no real rain on the map to show, so we've really enjoyed that. Tonight's forecast, we see a low around 61 degrees, calm, cool evening. So if you got to take the dog for a walk, it's going to be a beautiful evening for that. Take the girlfriend around the pond over at the park. It's going to be a beautiful night. Great, like I said, great for getting outside. You see the wind at 5 miles per hour out of the east. Looking at tonight's weather headlines, we see perfect weekend weather, should stay clear for that game, make for a beautiful weather for Saturday and Sunday. Another cold front coming the beginning of next week, so we will see our rain chances increase. And later on in the show, we will have an interview with Reddit legend Dr. Alan Seals. So now I'm going to send it off to Michael Anand over in the lab.
Thanks, Charlie. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about yesterday's trivia question. So if you were watching our show yesterday, our trivia question was, when was the temperature last below 50 degrees in Tallahassee? And so here are our choices: March 15th, April 22nd, May 6th, or February 17th. So our answer was May 6th. Now, it's been pretty warm these last few weeks, but you know what? Next week we could actually dip below 50 as our low, and we'll reveal that later in the show. Now let's send it off to Jake with a look at your local.
Thanks a lot, Michael. The beginning of the show alluded to this sort of fall tease that Jordan was talking about, and you really see the end of that here with today's almanac. 85 degrees, just about 5 degrees warmer really throughout the day here compared to what we usually see for October 20th. Not quite cracking record territory, but not exactly far off, with the record high only at 90 degrees. We start with today's low temperatures here. We're eventually going to move this on into the cool trend that you see early on next week. But for now, again, much like the last few days we've had here, we've had a trend of 60s down to the south, lower to, or upper to middle 50s up to our north. 55 degrees was our morning low in Thomasville as well as in Valdosta. The high temperatures raising up into the middle 80s throughout most of the area. Bainbridge being a notable outlier at 88 degrees. Some of that drier air still working into our area, although we've had a little bit more low-level humidity these last couple of days, which has been making it feel just a little bit more toasty in the afternoon to early evening hours. You begin to see that with the upper-level water vapor. Still some fairly dry air over our immediate area, especially off to the east, so preventing any kind of convective activity. You only see a couple of those little cumulus clouds out there. Nothing exactly threatening, but out to our west, that is what we're going to be starting to watch over these next couple of days here. Sunday being our real first chance for some rainfall. We'll talk a little bit more about that extended forecast towards the end of this segment. But for now, what we wanted to talk about here was NOAA recently releasing, the NOAA Climate Prediction Center releasing its late fall temperature outlook for the United States. And much like we've had through the early part of the season, these above average temperatures are largely expected to persist. Greater than a 40% chance of above normal temperatures here. Like we've said earlier, our average high is about 80 degrees right now, gradually dropping once we get into November and December. Obviously, you're seeing more of a heating trend, though, out to the west over in Texas. So, of course, that doesn't mean we're going to be 10 degrees above average every single day out here, but in the net, we can expect things to be just a little bit more toasty than our typical temperatures. Tonight's forecast, 61 degrees for your nighttime low. A very calm, cool evening, much like we've been seeing all week here. fantastic conditions for getting outside. Winds are going to be out of the east at about 5 miles per hour. We look at tomorrow with that football game against Louisville at 12 o'clock. A beautiful day, although still a little bit on the warm side here. So, of course, you'll want to stay hydrated throughout the game. Make sure to drink some water before you get into Doak Campbell Stadium. Warm and sunny, so no threat of rainfall like we had at times during the Miami game a couple of weeks ago. Just a very, very nice day, again, if you prepare for that additional heating and sunlight that you have out there. Here's the 5-day forecast. I'm purposely going to block Wednesday here to show you what's going on. Sunday, 30% chance of PM rain. Monday, Tuesday is really when we're going to be starting to see those rain chances pick up. Our good old friend, the cold front, makes its appearance like we had last week, and then if I step out of the way, you see the results. Wednesday, 72 degrees, sunny skies, a low of 51 degrees. Keep an eye on that, because when we have our 7-day forecast later on, you're going to really want to see what's coming next for those low temperatures. For now, we're going to zoom out to the southeast with Matt Reagan.
Thank you very much, Jake. We're going to be getting the cold front on Monday and Tuesday, but there are some friends of us to the west that are going to see it first. Right now, though, across the southeast, it's really nice. High pressure dominating the entire region. 83 here in Tallahassee. Even though our icon shows a few clouds, there's not that many out there. Overall, a really nice day. Montgomery, 79, Tupelo at 77. A few of those showers and storms concentrated to the coastal areas of Louisiana, and we can actually see that here on our satellite and radar. Here it is, some moisture being pulled up. This is actually associated with that trough that's going to be coming down into our area. This is the very, very leading edge of it, pulling up the Gulf moisture into Louisiana, into Arkansas, and then, of course, that's going to start to move over to our area, so the cloud cover will be on the increase as this high-pressure dome starts to move on out of the way. Current winds, we always talk about the winds right now predominantly from the east at 12 miles per hour. Look at this, offshore from the Atlantic. Orlando, Miami, all the eastern coast of Florida seeing those the high wind values, and unfortunately with the high winds we can see some of those rip currents and the light chop. So small crafts, watch out. We got some small crafts advisories for pretty much the entire peninsula of Florida. If you do want to take a swim or you're heading out of town this weekend, heading to the beach, please pay attention, go to a lifeguarded beach, and that will keep you safe from any of these rip currents that you could find in your area. Now, of course, the story is the cold air moving in. Ahead of that, though, is going to be the rain, and this is what we could possibly see in the southeast over the next few days into Monday and Tuesday. 3 inches, the bullseye, of course, in northern Georgia and here in Tallahassee. We're seeing an area that could develop, that could potentially lead to some stronger storms. However, we are seeing the possibility of some heavy drenching storms, and with the forecast, as Jake was talking about, for a drier winter, we could use all of the rain and the wetter conditions, if that's even a word, that we can get. But tonight's forecast, rather comfortable. If you're heading on out to the block party here in Tallahassee or any Friday night activities, I know a lot of haunted houses are starting ahead of Halloween in much of the southeast. Gorgeous 50s up northern into Alabama and Mississippi. Georgia, much of the same thing. Down into South Florida, though, that warm, humid air mass, that's stuck over them, unfortunately. Now, tomorrow, let's look at that forecast, and the temperatures will be rebounding into the mid to upper 80s. Game day here in Tallahassee, and game day for all of college football in the southeast, looking on the warm side for this time of year, especially in October. Now, we talk about cool weather, and we talk about that cooler air coming down, but Michael and I are actually going to dive into see exactly where it is coming from, because it's got its origins from from very far away.
Yeah, a lot of you have been noticing that this fall has been pretty warm, and this is the reason why we've been having a ridge over the eastern part of the U.S. for a lot of this fall season. But next week, there's a change coming, and a pretty drastic change is that.
Yeah, we see a lot of these low pressure systems, and I think we have a satellite loop if we can pull that up.
Yeah.
Here, we have a lot of these low pressure systems sitting in the Bering Sea and the Gulf of Alaska, way up in the higher elevations. And we were seeing those on our computer here, and they were pouring in. You could see them here. See the streamers of higher, cooler cloud tops?
Yeah, and that actually shows where the jet stream is currently.
And we even have Typhoon Lan that is also affecting the pattern as well.
Yes. So what is actually going to cause the cold air next week? We have a low pressure currently sitting in Montana. That is going to give us our cool air for next week. 60s as highs probably, and 40s as lows. But what Lan is going to do, Lan is actually probably going to keep this cooler trend for a while. You've been noticing that, yeah, we get cool air, but the temperatures rebound very quickly. Lan, what it's going to do is going to keep our cool air staying there for a while. Basically, the outflow of lawn causes the jet stream to amplify a lot. And that jet stream is going to have a trough. A trough means cooler air for us. That's a really good thing for this time of year. So, in summary, the cooler is going to start because of this low pressure system, and with lawn moving up to the north latitudes, it's going to probably keep this cool air in Tallahassee for a while. And now, let's send it off to Jordan with a look at National.
Thanks so much, Michael. You can really point out where the temperatures are associated with that low pressure system out near Seattle, especially with those cooler temperatures. 52 degrees up in Seattle right now, 48 degrees in Salt Lake City, and San Francisco seeing about 62 degrees. However, on the East Coast, you see a lot of these higher values. Dallas up at 83 degrees, Memphis, Tennessee at 75. Here in Tallahassee, we saw 83 degrees. Still a good amount above the average, although we are going to start to see those temperatures dip down as that next cold front starts to make its way into our region. Let's take a look nationally. Here's that low pressure system that's pushing that cold front down into the Midwest. Here we have that Midwest trough. It's bringing a lot of moisture up from the Gulf of Mexico, and it's going to be pushing the moisture into our region. That's why you see a lot of our clouds in that 7-day starting to reach into our next couple of days. Here we have that dominating high pressure system bringing us a lot of easterly flow from that wind. So we are going to start to see a little bit of drier air in our region. Let's take a closer look at that system. Here's a satellite and radar. A good mix of rain and snow. Very high chance of also much of northern California starting to see a relief from those wildfires and a lot of these dry conditions that they've been seeing over the past couple of days. There is going to be a large threat, though, as this storm starts to make its way in. Because it's such a strong low pressure system, we have a big flooding and tornado threat. Let me go ahead and step off here, and I can try and point out some of the graphics to you. Very dry just ahead of the front. We are going to start to see some of those red flag warnings as you head out toward the Dakotas and into Minnesota. We also start to see high wind watches as that low pressure starts to make its way into the region. Places where it's already hit, such as Seattle, you're going to start to see a lot of flood warnings and flood watches surrounding the area, as well as wind advisories, and even places where they start to see a lot of that winter weather, you're going to see those winter weather advisories starting to reach into their area. However, once we start to head out a little bit further, once it moves into our region, we're going to start to see a lot more severe weather heading toward the Midwest and bringing its way closer toward the East Coast. Right now, this is the severe weather outlook. We're going to have, at most, the enhanced outlook. So there's a possibility of some strong thunderstorms, some possibly damaging wind, probably knocking a few shingles off of roofs, as well as even some possibility of some small hail. So you want to be prepared for that. As we head into tonight's forecast, though, it looks to be pretty nice throughout most of the region, dipping down well into the 30s as you head out to the west. 39 tonight in Billings and 38 out in Salt Lake City. We're not going to see those 30s for any time soon, as much as we'd like to see them. But for now, we are going to stay comfortable in the 60s that we are going to start to like over the next coming days. 61 in Tallahassee, and just to the north of us, Atlanta is starting to see a little bit cooler weather as well, 55 degrees. Those of us in South Florida, however, they are going to still stick with that warmer temperatures until this cold front starts to move its way into their region, 78 down in Miami. Tomorrow's forecast is going to warm up very quickly throughout much of the East Coast. Look at all of these 80s surrounding much of the southeastern to northeastern coast. You see San Antonio 88, Dallas 85, New Orleans 86, Tallahassee 87, and 86 in Miami. But you can start to see where that cold front was. It was over here before. Now it's starting to move its way farther and farther west, or farther and farther east, as it's going to make its way into our region. But for now, we are going to send it out to a local look with Tevin at a live shot.
Send it over to us if things get glitchy, so.
I'll talk forever.
If it is a Friday before a Florida State home game, that only means one thing. We are live at the Friday night block party here in the College Town District of Tallahassee. The band Lanco of Nashville, Tennessee is set to take the stage in just a few moments. The cheerleaders will be out here. There is plenty of food and fun and relaxation.
Thanks so much. Now, we will post that on social media with what was going on with Tevin and those events for tomorrow. As for right now, I'm student meteorologist Sydney Welch here with FSU alum and chief meteorologist at WKRG in Mobile, Alabama, Alan Seals.
Also a student meteorologist, because it never ends. That's part of the profession.
The learning never ends.
It never ends, and I'm just so happy to be here with you guys and see what you're doing and be able to help out just a little bit.
That's an awesome way to look at it. So, being back on FSU campus, how has that been for you so far?
So far, traffic is much heavier than I remember 30 years ago. The building is still pretty much the same, and it's really cool to see the energy of a college campus, especially on a Friday night before a football game.
Yeah, it is a little rowdy on a Friday night, but I hope that's not against us here at FSU. Now, that foundation that you did receive with your FSU education, how has that bettered you in the broadcasting and in the meteorology world as a whole?
It just, everything. It's so hard to separate all the little things I've done, but I came to FSU for grad school, and as an undergrad, I'll be honest, it was a party. It was 4 years of having fun and learning a little bit, but when I came here, it was 2 years of learning a lot and not so much partying. So I did a general synoptic track, just learning about all the different types of meteorology and how to communicate it to people who either don't understand it or are not interested in it. And I knew at the point coming here that I wanted to be a broadcast meteorologist. So my focus is what yours is now, which is communicating weather.
Yeah, and as people out there may not know, we do have right here, Reddit has recently named him the best weatherman ever, and this is due to his communication skills. So, did you expect while making this video before Hurricane Irma that it was going to go viral?
No, to me, for my generation, viral is a bad thing. It's not something you ever expect or want. It was amazing. And what I did, normally working in Mobile, when I do an online forecast, it's centered on Mobile for my viewers. But I knew Irma was going to be halfway historic, so I purposely also posted on YouTube a daily forecast. And I did 6 of them. And the first one got 1,000 views. The second one got 30,000. The third one got 90,000. And then this one, the one that went viral, when I went to bed, it was up to like 120,000. I woke up, I got an email saying, hey, did you know that you were voted? No, it said, hey, did you know that you're the best weatherman ever? And of course, in my personality, my answer is, of course I knew. But I didn't realize I was voted best weatherman ever. So truly bizarre, weird, strange, but very rewarding. I can say that. I also have to say, to be honest, it's the same week that one of my competitors went viral for doing something on camera regarding the emissions that come out of our rear ends, and I'll leave it at that.
I actually have I've seen both videos, but your video did especially bring out positivity throughout the internet. So viewers really liked how calm and collected you were in such a hectic hurricane season and such a hectic time. One viewer even writing, that guy is amazing. He should explain more things to more people. So that means as a meteorologist, you have succeeded by breaking it down and being able to explain that to people.
It's truly bizarre because all my friends and people close to me who are really honest said, oh, well, you do that all the time. And I do. And to me, it was what I always have done. It's what I always do. It was longer. It was about 7 minutes long. But still, that's why I was surprised, is that I've been doing this since, I haven't really changed since I was a student, other than hopefully getting better. But it is cool to see people excited about learning, and also to see other broadcasters excited about trying to teach, because sometimes we just throw the information out there without really saying, here's what it means.
Yeah, definitely. And as for, if you were speaking to a student, well, you are speaking to a student, so any advice that you have for me as I embark in my career?
Same advice for any young person. Be serious about your craft. Learn as much as you can. All those other little subjects that you don't think are important, they're all going to come back to you sooner or later, so you've got to learn all of them. And on a personal level, be a good person. Stay away from people who are not good, who are going to drag you in the wrong direction. And even think about everything you do now as an investment for the future. Tattoos, they might be fun now, but on TV, they may limit your career. Don't ever do anything on camera that you don't want people to see when you're 40, 50, 60, 90, president, or head of a university. Always be on your best behavior. And have fun. That's the big deal. Have fun doing what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely having fun is a big part of this. Also, you were recently elected as president of NWA,
Yeah.
so you're president-elect currently. How is that? How did that come to be?
Same way. I've been an active member for National Weather Association and the American Meteorological Society since my days here at Florida State. I joined as a student member, which is what you should do also, get the student rate. I still go to as many conferences as I can, and it's all about networking and learning and growing. And they asked me to run. I was a previous counselor. They asked me to run. I really didn't have any, it's not something I would have thought of doing, but it's such an honor to be asked. And honestly, it was important for me to represent African Americans because they've never had an African American president. So
Yeah.
it's important to make it more diverse, just like the rest of the world.
Yeah, diversity is important, and in the meteorology community, there is so little of us, so it is
Yes.
awesome to be able to represent that. But as for weather, we are going to take it back out to the wall and talk about some more weather with Megan.
Thanks so much for that advice, Alan. Great interview, Sydney. We're going to take a look at our current conditions in the state of Florida. Sunshine State not really living up to its name today. We saw a lot of cloud coverage throughout the entire state. Tallahassee, mostly clouds, just a little bit of sun peeking out. Those temperatures did spike back up. We were feeling a little bit of a cool off, but temperatures now looking like they do usually in Florida in those 80s. Satellite and radar showing not much over Tallahassee. Our direct region staying pretty clear. A lot of precipitation and cloud coverage over down in the Gulf, but nothing that's going to be affecting us through Friday night. Looking pretty good for the next 24 hours. Our water vapor showing us we got a lot of dry air moving over our region. This orange color showing us dry air. The green showing us a lot of moist air. So right here we're sitting in between the moist and dry, but that dry cool front did move over our region as evidenced by that water vapor. Taking a look at our current dew points, 60 in Tallahassee. That's a very comfortable range. Not too humid, not too muggy, but also not too dry. So 60 is a very nice dew point for us as we felt comfortable today outside. Moving down the state of Florida, things get a bit more humid all the way in Miami, 74, Key West, 75, the most humid in the entire state. So things very different throughout the state of Florida as far as humidity goes. Our current heat index showing us things are warming up as evidenced by that cold front moving through and leaving. But as we see in Tallahassee, 84 degrees, Tampa 88, Miami all the way in the 90s at 91. So they got a very brief cool off and they're warming up rather quickly. Our current winds mostly coming from the northeast, but not very cool anymore. That high pressure has been sitting over there for a while. Those winds aren't very cold anymore, but northeast direction staying through the most of the region. Tallahassee, 12-mile-an-hour gusts today. Moving down Florida, we see 20 in West Palm Beach. Very sporadic winds throughout the entire state today. Tonight's forecast, we're dropping a little bit, 61 degrees. That's open your windows kind of night. Tampa, 71, Miami, 78, West Palm Beach, 79. So they're warmer down in South Florida as always. Tallahassee looks pretty nice tonight as we take a look at tomorrow's forecast. 87, still a bit hot as we approach later in our week. 83 Pensacola, moving down, we see things do get warmer as always. Storms in South Florida, but nothing that's going to be affecting the immediate Tallahassee region, so just warm and cloudy day tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and send things off with Tyler for a look at our local conditions.
Thank you, Megan. We're going to be talking about our local area because temperatures are very, very warm for this time of year with temperatures in the mid 80s, and we have a low dew point right now, 60 degrees with a just under 50%, under half and half, and we have the ridge of high pressure that's located to the northeast of us, and the reason for that is because temperatures are in the 80s. So the warmest temperatures are actually at the coast because the sea breeze has been suppressed due to a northeasterly wind. At the coast in Apalachicola, it is a little bit cooler because of the way that the coastline is shaped. However, again, the lack of cloud cover and the high pressure system to the east of us, located right here over West Virginia, is causing the winds to come out of the direction conducive for warning conditions. So tomorrow, because the high pressure is in place, the air is going to sink down. What happens when air sinks? It actually warms up. So tomorrow will actually be warmer than today. We have this cold front located in the Dakotas and the Intermountain West. That is going to be moving further towards the east over the weekend. And as we go into Saturday, there's going to be a jet stream across the northern portion of the country. What that is going to do is that's going to charge the areas south of the front with the southerly winds in the Gulf to have some severe weather across the plains. However, as it moves sort of towards the east, by the time we get into Monday, the cold front down here is going to be removed from the jet stream. And what that will do for us is make it so that severe weather is not going to be as big of a problem. Going to Wednesday, though, that cold front moves all the way south near Cuba, and we had the first significant cool down, even though we had the preview last week. You'll see how cold we get in the 7-day forecast. For tonight, temperatures fall about 5 to 10 degrees above our average, 10 degrees at the coast, 5 degrees inland, lows in the low mid 60s generally. Tomorrow, again, very warm. Pack the sunscreen because with the high pressure system, it will not be cloudy. So you are going to need sunscreen unless you want to get fried. Going to the 7-day forecast, rain chances increase Monday and Tuesday ahead of the cold front. It passes through Monday night around midnight, and then we dramatically cool off for an extended period of time. The last cold front lasted about 48 hours. This one is going to last several days. So that's something to look forward to, but there's something for everyone on the 7-day forecast. Now let's send it back to the desk.
I really like the last way that you described that, Tyler. Something for everyone. And the other big message that was obviously necessary is pack that sunscreen for tomorrow, because it's going to be both a warm and a very sunny one out there when we play at noon.
Yep, a noon game, so that sun's going to be hitting that student section. Make sure you're wearing sunglasses, sunscreen, just come prepared to go cheer on our Noles. 80
degrees at kickoff, just about, with a little bit more humidity than we saw earlier on in the week. So towards the end of the game, going to be feeling like those mid to upper 90s potentially on the field here. You look at that 7 days ahead, and like Tyler was saying, a little bit of everything here.
Yeah, and even if our team doesn't win, we sure do. Look at those temperatures on Thursday. We get lows into the 40s.
This northerner is extremely excited about that, for sure. But we're all over social media if you want to check out a little bit more and see some of our forecasts. You can like us on Facebook.com/FSU Weather. We're very active on Twitter, of course. And now, as of this semester, our shows are streaming on YouTube.com/FSU Weather.
Of course, follow the Instagram, posting daily pics at campus and exciting weather things to be knowing about. So
I'm glad the new social media reel finally got the Instagram some love. I've been saying that for about a year here. And all right, so that's all we got for the week. We'll be here same time next week, all 5 days of the week. And for all of us here at FSU Weather, we wish you a very safe and fun weekend. I'm meteorologist Jay Karstens.
I'm student meteorologist Megan Berry.
Have a good night.